Hello, welcome back to Just Jamming Along, and today is the first in a new series of videos that I want to do looking at some of our favourite musicians. You know, it's really important to understand that being a great musician, being a great performer, it's not just about being able to play with good technique or great understanding of music theory. There's so much more to it than that. It's so much about influence from other people and what you actually do with your music, how you get out there, how you perform, who you perform with, and so on. Now, we can't all emulate some of the lives that some of these great musicians have had. However, I'm a firm believer in trying to borrow some of those ideas. I'm a firm believer in making sure that part of our own musical education, even as amateurs, is to have a broad and wide understanding of music, and that includes understanding what makes a great musician beyond just the technique. So today, we're going to look at B.B. King. B.B. King was aged 12 when he first started learning to play the guitar. The local minister taught him his first 3 chords, and in fact his employer then bought him his first guitar, which he had to pay back via his paychecks until the debt was cleared. Did he have any formal education? Well, no formal music education. The social and kind of economic circumstances at that time in that part of the world would have prevented much opportunity for an education for B.B. King, and in fact in the 10th grade he had to drop out and work on a plantation, but he continued to develop his musical skills during his spare time. Did he have early influences? Yes, lots. He was very much involved in choirs and the gospel choirs in Mississippi in his early years, and also listened to Delta blues musicians on the radio who he idolised. Age 21, he moved to Memphis with his cousin, who was 25 years his senior, a Delta blues musician, Bukka White, who introduced him to the Memphis music community and would have been a very significant mentor. In the late 1940s, when he was in his early 20s, B.B. King, also known as Blues Boy, was working as a DJ, and he met T-Bone Walker, and they subsequently performed together. His first tour in 1949, aged 24, was with Sonny Boy Williamson II, and that would have been a really important time for him, gaining experience on a tour around the South, including Memphis, Tennessee, and West Memphis. It was a tour that really kind of launched his musical career, gave him exposure to a wider audience, and would have been very important for him. Number of live performances, well, quite difficult to calculate. He was known for having a relentless touring schedule, and he performed multiple shows in a week, and it's estimated that he at times was performing up to 200 shows per year. So with a career span of 60 years, we can estimate the total number of performances to be around 12,000, which is simply unbelievable. How many years was he active? Well, he started playing guitar at the age of 12. He had a career that spanned over 6 decades, from the late 40s until he passed away in 2015. How many songs did he record? He recorded hundreds, too many to count, to be perfectly honest, and of course there were all the collaborations that he recorded with other very notable and famous musicians also. Some of his well-known songs include The Thrill Is Gone, Lucille, and Why I Sing the Blues, but for me, my personal favourite song is Hummingbird. 12,000 performances, even if that was 6,000 performances, that's loads. You're going to pick up loads of experience if you're working at that kind of level. Now, as I mentioned in the introduction, we can't, of course, all emulate that, but I do think it's important that we try and borrow some of those ideas. If you're an amateur musician like me, don't wait at home practicing, thinking to yourself, well, I'm going to go out and try and find a band or perform when I feel ready. You'll never be ready. Get out there, find the people, find a band to play with, get to an open mic, get to a local music venue, put yourself out there. Perhaps if you're a parent of a child who's learning and is very keen on music, then think about those early influences. How can you get your child, your son, your daughter, or whatever, out and about with other musicians, school bands, local performances, and so on? It's really important. Get out there and, make music with other people. Okay, next time we'll be looking at John Mayer.